Hello, and welcome to the Argyle Finance Decision Maker Expo. My name is Nick with Argyle, and it's great to have everyone joining us today. I have some important information to share with you, and then we will turn the floor over to our esteemed opening keynote speaker. First, we would like to take a moment to thank today's sponsors, Avid Exchange and SAP. Our sponsors are committed to providing you with valuable content and a great overall experience. At any time during today's event, you can visit their virtual booths from the main agenda page, which include complimentary materials, information, and meet and greet opportunities. We also welcome you to stay socially connected during today's event. For those of you who are active on social media, please use the hashtag Argyle Digital and follow us at Argyle Exec Forum. Also, be sure to follow Argyle on LinkedIn for special announcements. I would like to take a moment to touch on our content neutrality policy, which we have curated based on the feedback we have received over the years from our members. We have worked closely with our speaking faculty to ensure that you receive a set of balanced and neutral viewpoints during the session today, and we appreciate our members' support of this policy. Finally, and most importantly, we want to hear from you. So during each session, we encourage you to submit your questions and comments in the Q&A box on your screen. Following each presentation, we have set aside time for our speakers to weigh in on your questions. Thank you again for joining us today. Now, let's get started. Without further ado, I would like to introduce David Palmer, CPO of Vodafone's Web3 platform. We're super excited to have David for his opening keynote presentation titled Harnessing the Potential of Web3 and AI. Welcome, David. Over to you.
Thank you. A real pleasure to be presenting today on two of the technologies that are changing the business landscape, in fact, changing the wider landscape. So we'll be talking about harnessing the power of Web3, blockchain, digital identity, tokenization, NFTs, real-world asset tokenization, and AI. So for those of you who have been in business or looking at the internet over the past 2 years, generative AI and ChatGPT has been the topic of much discussion. And today we're going to look at how we can harness the power of these two big technologies, transformative technologies for business. First of all, I want to start off by just going through a little bit of that landscape, right? So what is the world we're living in? What are the key metrics that are out there which really shape how this technology can be positioned? So the first thing is that the population is increasing. So we've now got we're expecting by 2030 8.5 billion people to be in the world. So the population is increasing very significantly. Being from Vodafone, I'm also pleased that that population, most of the people who can use one have a mobile phone. One of the biggest success stories in technology and usability over the past years has been the advent of the mobile phone, which has scaled. So we're expecting in 2030 that over 90% of the world's population will have a mobile phone. I think the penetration of smartphones, over 64%, and we're also seeing that these phones have evolved from just connecting people for voice calls to now being capable of processing, heavy processing, running apps, games, business applications. So we are now in the mobile era, and over 90% of the population are part of that. IoT devices, we're expecting connected cars, connected drones, other connected devices that form part of our business, that by 2030 there will be 30 billion of them. And this one got me is the digital wallets. So these are your Apple wallets, your Google wallets, your other types of digital wallet. Now there's 4 billion. So there's 4 billion digital wallets in operation at the moment. And we're expecting by 2030 that over 65% of the population will have a digital wallet. So 5.6 billion digital wallets will be in operation. Blockchain and metaverse is slightly different. So at the moment, 2024, there's over 300 million, not billion, 300 million blockchain users. But there's a big question mark, right? Which is, how much scale will blockchain and Web3 get over the next 5 to 6 years? Some of the technologies. So we break down, Web3, and we break down AI. What are these technologies that are really, changing the world that we live in? So we have blockchain, which is, infrastructure for creating trust and tokens that operate on that trust and immutability. Which is now developing. Those of you who would have looked at the price of crypto markets, we're now seeing that those markets are at their highest, and adoption of blockchain in real business, is starting to happen. We then have decentralized finance and fintech. So the way we transact, the way we bank now is all API driven, or is moving towards API driven embedded finance. So that's changing. Decentralized autonomous organizations. Smart contracts can automate law and legal agreements. The metaverse changes the way we interact with content and services. Generative AI is increasing the way we interact with intelligence and the tooling we use. Tokenization and NFTs are changing the way we can own things and how we can move that ownership between physical and digital worlds. 5G is liberalizing and democratizing connectivity to make sure that connectivity that was previously only available in fiber in the home is now available anywhere where we have the 5G network. And Internet of Things and economy of things is changing the way that connected devices associated with business can monetize and provide data. So some of the questions about Web3 and AI that we'll address in this presentation. So first of all, what is it, right? What is AI and Web3, especially when applied to business, right? How big are the opportunities associated with Web3 and AI? How big will the impact be on business, right? Some of the discussions on AI is 300 million jobs will be lost, many more will be created, but it's going to be an impact. What is that impact? Where is it going to be? How will this impact the world of work? How will it, and most importantly, how can business position, in this time of unparalleled technological change? How can business position? So first of all, let's discuss the size of these opportunities. So Web3, fintech, and AI opportunities. How big are they? So the Web3 opportunity has been forecast at 2 trillion. The fintech opportunity, 1.1 trillion. We look at the AI opportunity anywhere between 10 to 15 trillion. And if we look at metaverse, 1 to 5 trillion. And if we look at decentralized public infrastructure networks that run on blockchain, anywhere from 1 to 4 trillion, depending on how much of the AI infrastructure is actually the metaverse infrastructure is built on them. So that's sort of speaking to how we are. Okay, so let's start on blockchain. So what is blockchain? An immutable decentralized system of records, which has a timestamp, which has consensus, which enable transaction using tokens, which gives rise to cryptographically secured currencies or tokens, which can be transacted, right? So it's a trusted record, decentralized ownership and control, cryptographically secured, smart contracts, consensus. Those are the sort of key things when you think of blockchain. And how has blockchain been doing, right? What's happened so far in 2024? Well, if I'd given this presentation, 2 months ago, I would have said that the cryptocurrency market was around 2.7 trillion. Over the last week, definitely over the last month or two, you've seen that 2.7 trillion has grown to 3 trillion, right? So it is, at an all-time high, the size of the cryptocurrency market. A lot of it buoyed by Bitcoin, which is also at an all-time high. Over 100 billion locked in decentralized finance protocols, so an alternative way of investing and getting returns from cryptographic assets. We've seen that, if you took March 23 to today, Bitcoin has increased over 250%. Ethereum, 210% if you took March to today as a timeline. The NFT market is over 70 billion locked in NFTs. The Bitcoin market cap is now about 1.6 trillion. If you take it today, 1.4 trillion in March 2024. Ethereum market cap 474 billion, maybe a bit higher. If you take it today, I'd say about 600 billion. And the key thing is that we're starting to see a merge between this crypto movement, which began with people who were not in business or institutions, and we're now seeing adoption by institutions with Bitcoin ETFs and Ethereum ETFs, two of the top crypto tokens or coins, now being adopted in big funds, hedge funds, and other investment vehicles. So we're starting to see a merge, and then we sort of look at the users. So over 425 million users. We've got CBDCs coming into this. So a lot of countries are seeing how can they digitalize their sovereign currencies, etc. So we're starting to see a movement in blockchain, and part of that is also, if we look at 2023, when there was a lot of collapse and correction in the market with FTX collapsing, Terra, Three Arrows, Celsius, BlockFi, all failing. And then we had the famous Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Banks failing. I remember going to give a presentation to a university on that day and having to pull over and change my whole presentation because of that. But then what we've seen sort of beginning of 2024 is a lot of institutions come into this space. MasterCard, tokenized deposits. HSBC, tokenized securities, tokenized gold. JP Morgan shifting billions and billions over its token network. Tokenized deposits by Visa. ETS being approved for Bitcoin and Ethereum. And then you've got peer-to-peer transactions being trialed by MasterCard. And this is only the beginning, right? Every bank is now starting to move into this area. And the central banks, which can move macroeconomic policy, so money supply, interest rates, redistribution of income, that will be through CBDCs, right? And we're starting to see that that adoption and trials of CBDCs is growing. And now what we're seeing is discussions to add Bitcoin to the strategic currency reserves of some countries. And if we look at it, this is just saying, if you look at Bitcoin in relation to global companies, at 1.6 trillion, Bitcoin today is roughly the same size as Alphabet and Google. So very, very significant, not a hobby anymore. And if you look at it in terms of currencies, actually, given the recent increases, the global size of the cryptocurrency market at 3 trillion is actually bigger than France and maybe just behind the UK. So the question is, we have 8 billion mobile phones and 30 billion IoT devices by 2030. Can they work with Web3 and Web3 and can they work with blockchain? And then this is just basically showing that the future of blockchain is part of this new digital infrastructure for a new digital world. Before, traditional infrastructures, trains and roads and electricity networks, etc. But now, increasingly, we're dependent on digital and data and fiber and bandwidth and connectivity and transactions and finance as part of our infrastructure. And to get that new digital infrastructure for a new digital world, it's going to be important for that digital infrastructure to be run by things like telco networks. So here you've just got a picture saying, okay, what if each mobile phone could have a wallet? What if each mobile phone could have an identity? And what if each mobile phone could be paid to run consensus protocols for blockchains, right? What if the blockchain became the mobile phone network? And this is looking at the new digital infrastructure for a new digital world being based on convergence. There's also a big synergy to be drawn between IoT devices. So we said 8 billion mobile phones, 30 billion IoT devices, and AI. Because if we look at AI, generative AI has changed the world. Right? It's changed the world. What an application to help us with our work. What an application to get information. What an application to tool the whole areas of business. We're seeing coding being done by generative AI. We're seeing videos being done, essays, research. But it needs data, and all the public data has now been used. right, to fuel AI. So where's the data going to come from now? Businesses. How a business is going to produce that data is going to come from IoT devices. So you're seeing this link between large language models, which will start to be more specific to industries and business, and the IoT devices in those industries and business which are going to produce the data. And this is going to be a massive marketplace and a massive source of exchange in most industries, where you have IoT devices providing data into large language models and being paid for it, and those large language models then feeding back into those industries with intelligence and tooling and automation. I wanted to discuss with Web3 the world of wallets, right? So, 5.6 billion wallets by 2030. My question here is, are wallets going to be key to the future of business and AI, right? So here, I've drawn a global wallet architecture. And what you see is that there's a number of wallets, right? So you've got wallets on blockchains. So MetaMask would be the number one wallet you use, but you have wallets which are native to different chains, and that would be where you have an address and where you can hold value in the form of tokens, and you can then send to other wallets with addresses, right? And before, those wallets were native and limited to the blockchain you had them on, right? And then you could obviously have cold wallets, which is where you can take the value out of the online wallets, and you can hold them in a physical hardware. So that's how things worked. And you had the story of someone who had millions and millions in Bitcoin on their laptop. The laptop in cold storage, and the laptop was lost, and then the wealth is lost, right? So now we're starting to get a bit more sophisticated, 3 trillion in crypto assets in how that's kept. And we'd start moving to the world of wallets, and the world of wallets will encompass Web3 and tokens and crypto, as well as fiat money, sovereign bank, and as well as assets. So you start to see this convergence where you have on-chain wallets, which can then link with something called account abstraction to externally owned accounts. So they could link to a Revolut account, for example, or something else that you have, where you can combine your wealth in crypto, which is on-chain, with your fintech bank account money, where you keep your salary or other things. And then you can also start to bring in other assets. So tokenized real world assets and other wealth can all start to be held in the wallet as we move towards this world of wallets. And the wallet also allows us to embed finance, and AI can then start to act as our agent on our behalf to find the best deals, to find the best way to keep wealth. And this is for businesses and people, and the best ways to transact, the most efficient ways to transact. So you start to see two things happening here. Number one, we're moving toward the world of wallets, and that wallet will include Web3. The wallets will include fintech, and it will include other assets. The wallet allows us to embed finance and payments, and AI will allow us to add a new level of intelligence to this as we move to the world of wallets. And I believe that this is where you will start to get convergence of the Web3 economy, the fintech economy, and the AI economy. Another thing is, how are we going to build this AI infrastructure? And this is where I think that Web3 and something called decentralized public infrastructure networks could be critical. If we look at how AI is evolving, it's evolving with big companies, big chip manufacturers, big data center owners, big IT companies, really dominating this space, largely because of the money it takes, to process AI and develop these large language models, right? But what about communities? What about developing countries? What about industries that aren't profitable, right? And this is where essentially decentralized public infrastructure networks, which can be where people actually invest in infrastructure, which is tokenized and fractionalized into those tokens, could actually be a key thing to building the AI infrastructure. And this is where Web3 and AI could work together to de-risk and spread out the investment and the stakeholders in AI. From rather than having a few big companies, you can have quite a lot. So just looking at that, I think is going to be absolutely critical for us to do that. So I'm just trying to go back to my presentation. Okay, I'm just going to go back to my presentation, but it's not working at the moment. I don't know what happened there. Oh, it's back. Okay. The other thing is deepen, right? So if you look at how all of this joins up, so we said central bank digital currency allows central bank currencies to be a part of it, and macroeconomic policy. Tokenized deposits brings bank accounts to this, and then you've got a whole way that you can fund infrastructure using Web3, which could be critical to building AI in the future. Some examples of this. So a protocol I work with, being YOM, is pretty critical. So that's where you can do gaming using Deepin. And I'm just going to skim this. So the final part of the Web3 technology is essentially the metaverse. So the metaverse being the digital immersive world, which will be AI on Earth, right? So the metaverse is going to be AI on Earth. It's going to be how we interact with all these robots, which are going to be, in industry, and it's going to be pretty critical that we're able to use AI, use the metaverse as an interaction point with AI. It's going to be pretty big, so we're saying 2 to 5 trillion. The metaverse, has a consumer metaverse and industrial metaverse, but the AI metaverse, the way we interact with AI is going to be the main function of the metaverse, right? AI bots, AI assistants, contexts and environments where we can interact with AI as if we're interacting with a human. All of this will be the metaverse, right? And it's a 2 to 5 trillion industry. It will change the way we communicate as we start to have more online, immersive platform-to-platform communication, and we need to take our digital identity in there. The phone number, the 8 billion phones, could be a good way to merge our online presence and our jurisdiction and our legal position with our digital thing. So in the metaverse, it can remove geography, it can provide an immersive experience, and it can do things like bring people back to life, change the way we interact with history. And the companies that will benefit most from the metaverse are the ones where immersiveness adds value, as well as removing geography. So things like university, entertainment, car showrooms is something that I've worked on. The AR glasses. So we heard about the Orion AR glasses by Meta. Apple are also working on AR glasses now, but this could be, Mark Zuckerberg is saying that this could be bigger than the mobile phone in the next, by 2034, right? And these glasses will allow us basically to make metaverse portable, but also it encompasses AI. So we have AI, we have the metaverse, all in these glasses or contact lenses, which is going to change the way we interact with content. In terms of AI, it's going to change the way we work. We're expecting a big impact on jobs. We expect that there's going to be a lot more tooling in jobs. I think that the SIM card and cellular, as we said before, could be the key to ensuring that businesses with devices and people with smartphones are able to integrate with blockchain and access the services in a seamless way, and also integrate with AI for selling data and also using tooling. We believe that this is the new IoT Web3 economy powered by AI. And in terms of architecture, we believe that we're moving towards a new operating system where all of these technologies, Web3, blockchain, AI, IoT, Web2, are all coming together to create a new experience. In summary, Web3 is changing business and finance. Metaverse is changing business location and interactions with each other and consumers. AI needs Web3 and AI, Web3, SIM and IoT can hold the link between them. Business processes will change, but I do believe we're moving towards a new digital infrastructure for a new digital world. So over to you I'm going to stop sharing now, and over to you for questions. Thank you.
Oh, great, David. Here's one from the audience. What are the key Web3 and AI technologies that are most likely to disrupt traditional business models? And how can companies harness them effectively?
So generative AI is the name of the game, right? So it's going to be the name of the game, but businesses need to ensure that for competitive advantage that they've got data which is relevant to their sector. So it's about large language models and foundation models being used and combined with specific business data to fuel your AI tooling and your AI offering. So that's going to be pretty cool. I think for Web3, key things, so digital wallets, tokenization. So tokenization of assets is going to be pretty big, and it's going to change the finance world for business. And I believe peer-to-peer transactions, which can also come from blockchain and being able to have that sort of trust and network will be critical.
Okay, great. Here's another question. What are the main challenges that Web3 and AI technologies present for businesses, and how can companies navigate these challenges?
AI, it's the amount of investment needed, right? So I think if you're in business now and you look at AI, there's thousands of offerings. None of them, are really relevant to any specific business, and anything bespoke, anything specific to that business is a huge cost. So it's navigating the jungle of multiple offers, and also navigating the road to getting data that's going to give your business a competitive advantage. I think for Web3, there's a lack of trust. There are some regulatory problems with Web3, which is cause businesses not to adopt. I think that is changing now. So I think the technology is a lot more scalable. It's a lot more reliable. I think the regulation shaping up. And I think more importantly, the applications led by real world asset tokenization are starting to really get a level of maturity that will allow businesses to use them.
Great. Here's another one. How can businesses best position themselves to capitalize on emerging opportunities in generative AI?
I think by collaborating, it's going to be really difficult, but I think there's two ways that you can get the opportunity. So first mover in using the tooling, having whole businesses which essentially are redesigning themselves to be AI first, right? So changing reliance on people to more and more having reliance on AI tooling where it adds value. I think the second thing is, getting again, investing in foundation models and investing in data architectures that will allow you to have data that gives your business a competitive advantage. I think those are the two things that are important to business development, which is AI driven.
Great. And I think we can squeeze in one more question. How can organizations integrate AI with blockchain technologies to enhance operational efficiency, innovation, and customer experience in a Web3 ecosystem?
That's a difficult one. So integrating AI with Web3 is difficult because AI is more about customer interaction. It's more about data and intelligence, and Web3 is more about consensus. I think some examples of this, are some of the things that Tesla are doing, some of the things that the banking community is doing in DevOps, where we're seeing some of the intelligence being brought in. I think the key thing is that Web3 and blockchain can provide trust to AI. Right. Part of the problems you have is, can you trust the data? Do we know that the AI agent or the AI tool is not a bad actor? And blockchain can do that by providing a digital identity and verifiable credentials which have consensus and trust to this. So I think that's going to be pretty important. But that's the role of blockchain. I think for AI, it's how you implement it, and smart contract linked to AI could be a good trigger.
Well, great. And thank you again, David, for an excellent keynote. And I also want to thank everyone else for joining us today. This session, along with all of today's content, will be available on demand following the event. Our next session will begin at 11:35 a.m. Eastern Time, which will be a thought leadership titled AP Automation at Arby's, the CFO's secret ingredient for growth. Please click the join button that will appear on your screen to be redirected to the next session, and we look forward to seeing you there.
Thank you.